Every man thinks he's safe until he finds out he wasn't. She told you what you wanted to hear. She played the role perfectly. And because you were blinded by attraction, you missed the truth that was staring you in the face. Loyalty isn't about what she says. It's about what she shows. Ignore that reality, and you'll join the long list of men who thought their situation was different. I don't want that for you. Stay with me because I'm going to reveal 10 signs she'll never be a loyal woman. Miss even one, and you could lose years of your life to the wrong person. As a psychologist and relationship coach, I've spent years studying how women reveal their loyalty or their lack of it without even realizing. That's why I want you to subscribe right now so you don't miss the insights that could save you years of wasted time. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever been blindsided by a partner you thought was loyal? Share it in the comments because your story could help another man wake up. Now, let's get into the first sign, the most overlooked behavior that tells you if she's truly loyal or if she's a ticking time bomb. Number 1, she dresses like she's advertising herself. Let me be clear. There's a difference between style and strategy. Not every woman who dresses attractively is unfaithful. Some do it for fashion, self-expression, or simply because it makes them feel good. But a woman who constantly steps out in outfits that scream for attention isn't expressing creativity. She's broadcasting availability. Short skirts, deep cleavage, clothes so tight you can see her breakfast. This isn't fashion. It's marketing. And who is she marketing to? Not you, my friend. You already bought the product. That display is for every other man with a wandering eye. Now she'll tell you the classic line, "I dress for myself." That's the biggest lie men fall for. Nobody spends hours on hair and makeup squeezing into uncomfortable shoes that tear their feet apart just to feel pretty. It's about supply and demand. Every glance from a stranger is a dopamine hit, a small rush that says, "I still have options." And if she constantly needs that validation, your attention will never be enough. Here's the brutal truth. A woman who cannot survive without being seen by dozens of men will eventually seek more than just looks. When one source of attention runs dry, she'll need backups. You'll find yourself competing not with another man, but with the entire audience she's trying to captivate. And let me tell you, that is a competition you will never win. A loyal woman doesn't need a spotlight. She doesn't dress to prove her worth to strangers. She already knows who she belongs to, and she shows it by reserving her presence for you, not for the crowd. Number 2, her social media has become a stage. Look closely at her online world. If her Instagram looks less like a photo album and more like an audition tape, you're not in a relationship. You're watching a performance. Bikini shots, gym selfies cropped just right. Endless stories designed to provoke thirsty comments. This isn't about memories. It's about building an audience. And make no mistake, an audience is never loyal to one fan. You'll hear the excuses. "I just like sharing my life." Or "It's for my fitness journey." Don't get fooled. When every post is designed to highlight her body, when every angle screams, "Look at me," the purpose isn't documentation. It's marketing, just like we talked about before. And what comes with marketing? Leads, prospects, options. Here's the cold equation. When a woman consistently puts herself on display for public approval, she's essentially running an open competition. Today you might be the winner, but tomorrow someone else will place a better bid. That's not insecurity talking. That's simple math. Exposure plus attention eventually equals temptation. And pay attention to how she interacts with her followers, responding with heart emojis, playful comments, and inside jokes with men you've never met. Those aren't harmless. That's fuel. She's keeping the engine running with dozens of invisible suitors lined up behind the curtain. A loyal woman doesn't need a digital fan club. She doesn't need to broadcast her body for validation. She invests her energy into the relationship, not into strangers' news feeds. If her phone looks like a stage, then you're not her partner. You're just her current subscriber. Number 3, her wild past never really disappears. Men love to believe they're the exception. You meet a woman who used to be out every weekend, closing down clubs, living for the thrill, and she tells you that was the old me. I've grown up now, and you want to believe her. You want to think you're the reason she settled down. But let me tell you something most men don't want to hear. The party girl never dies. She only hibernates. Behavior creates wiring. The brain doesn't just forget years of chasing adrenaline, attention, and novelty. That thrill becomes part of her programming. It's like carving grooves into stone. Once they're there, they don't disappear. You can paint over it with routine, marriage, or even children. But the moment stress hits, the paint thins and the old patterns bleed through. Watch carefully. When life gets boring, when responsibilities pile up, when routine sets in, what does she crave? Suddenly, she needs a girls' night. Suddenly, she's reconnecting with old party friends. Suddenly, she's talking about how she misses feeling young. That's not nostalgia. That's a relapse waiting to happen. Here's the truth most men ignore. You don't reform a thrill-seeker with stability. You only delay the inevitable. And who represents the ultimate routine more than a long-term partner? You. Which means eventually she'll look for that missing spark outside of you. A loyal woman doesn't need the chaos of her past to feel alive. But if her history is full of chasing excitement, understand this. It isn't history. It's a sleeping pattern waiting to wake up. And when it does, you'll realize she was never really finished with that life. She was just on intermission. Number 4, she has more male friends than female friends. On the surface, it might look harmless. She says, I just get along better with guys, and you nod, wanting to believe it. But deep down, you know something doesn't add up. Women understand women. If she can't maintain close female friendships but somehow has a lineup of male companions, that's not coincidence. That's strategy. Here's the psychology. Men don't orbit around women for no reason. They're not there for long conversations about her favorite books. They're there because they're waiting for an opening. Every just friend is a potential replacement, a backup plan, an escape hatch she keeps warm in case things with you go cold, and she knows it. She enjoys it. She cultivates it. Notice the pattern. Her male friends comment on every photo, text her late at night, and invite her places you're not included. That isn't friendship. That's a revolving door of suitors waiting for their turn. And by keeping those connections alive, she's essentially running what I call a loyalty prevention program. The truth is simple. Loyal women understand boundaries. They know that when you're in a committed relationship, most of those opposite-sex friendships fade away or transition into friendships you share as a couple. What they don't do is maintain a private roster of men cheering from the sidelines. If she has more male friends than female ones, you're not in a safe position. You're in a waiting room, and the men sitting around her aren't friends. They're candidates. Number 5. Every ex was the villain. Listen carefully to how she talks about her past relationships. If every single story ends the same way, he was abusive, he was a narcissist, he was the problem. You're not hearing her history. You're hearing her excuse for the future. Here's the psychology. Someone who refuses to take responsibility for failure never learns from it. And if she hasn't learned, she will repeat the same pattern. Only this time, you're the one cast in the role of the bad guy. It's already written into her script. When she cheats, when she disrespects you, when she moves on, it won't be her fault. It will be yours. She'll rewrite the story until you're the one who caused her pain, the one who didn't love her enough, the one who held her back. Sure, it's possible for someone to have 1 or 2 rough relationships, but when every ex is painted as a monster, the common denominator isn't the men. It's her. That's not bad luck. That's a refusal to face her own behavior, and here's what most men don't see. By rescuing a woman who always plays the victim, you're signing up to become her next villain. She doesn't need healing. She needs accountability, and if she hasn't taken it yet, she won't start with you. A loyal woman doesn't rewrite history to protect her ego. She owns her part even when it hurts. But the eternal victim, she's already rehearsing the speech where you're the next name on her list of villains. Number 6. She craves drama and fears peace. A healthy relationship should feel calm, steady and even boring at times. But for some women, calm feels like death. They grew up in chaos. They got addicted to emotional roller coasters. And now their nervous system doesn't know how to survive without constant spikes of intensity. To them, peace isn't safety, it's emptiness. Watch her closely. When things are good between you two, does she suddenly pick fights over nothing? Does she create problems where none exist? Does she stir up tension just to feel alive? That's not passion, it's dysfunction. And for women wired this way, cheating isn't about your failures. It's about creating another high, sneaking around, the danger of being caught, the thrill of the forbidden. This is all just fuel for their addiction to chaos. Here's the painful truth. The more stable you are, the more restless she becomes. You can give her love, money, security, and commitment. But if she's addicted to drama, your very stability will suffocate her. She'll look outside the relationship, not because she needs something you lack, but because she needs intensity you can't and shouldn't provide. A loyal woman knows how to appreciate peace. She can enjoy a quiet Sunday, a simple evening, and a week without fireworks. But the drama addict, she'll destroy peace every time. And when the usual fights aren't enough anymore, she'll escalate. Cheating isn't a betrayal in her mind. It's just the next episode in her never-ending show. Number 7, she doesn't respect small boundaries. Pay attention to the little things. A woman who brushes off your simplest requests is giving you a preview of how she'll handle the bigger ones. If she checks your phone but refuses to let you touch hers, if she flirts with other men but flips out when you talk to women, if she makes rules for you that don't apply to her, that's not equality. That's entitlement. Boundaries are like muscles. If someone can't lift the light weights, they won't be able to handle the heavy ones. If she can't respect you, don't text your ex. Then don't expect her to respect or betray this relationship. It's the same principle, just a different level of resistance. Watch how she reacts when you set even the smallest boundary. Does she respect it? Does she test it? Does she mock it? Or worse, does she flip it back on you and accuse you of being controlling? That reaction tells you everything. Because a loyal woman doesn't fight boundaries. She understands they're the guardrails that keep a relationship safe. The mistake most men make is ignoring these early signs, thinking it's just a small issue. But those small issues are practice runs for faithfulness. A woman who dismisses them is already showing you that rules don't apply to her. Here's the truth. If she can't pass the small tests, she will fail the big one. And the price you'll pay isn't a minor inconvenience. It's your trust, your peace, and eventually your relationship. Number 8. She moves too fast in love. It feels flattering at first. She tells you she loves you after just a few weeks. She wants to move in right away. She acts like you've been together for years when you've barely started. Most men mistake this intensity for passion. They think she must really see something special in me. But here's the truth. She doesn't love you. She loves the idea of being in love. This behavior isn't romance. It's instability. Women who attach instantly also detach instantly. They're not choosing you after careful thought. They're grabbing onto whoever is available. That's not loyalty. That's fear of being alone. And fear-driven attachment always comes with overlap. She doesn't leave one man until she has another lined up. Which means while she's with you, she's already scanning for the next lily pad to jump to. Here's what most men miss. If she fell for you overnight, she'll fall for someone else just as quickly. You're not unique. You're interchangeable. You're not the exception. You're just the current host for her need to avoid solitude. A loyal woman takes her time. She builds slowly with intention. She doesn't confuse infatuation with commitment. But the instant girlfriend, she's like a firework blazing bright at the start, gone in seconds. And when that flame dies, she won't stay to rebuild. She'll already be moving on to her next spark. Number 9. She constantly compares you to other men. It starts small. She mentions her ex was taller. She points out her friend's husband makes more money. She jokes about how some actor has better abs. At first you brush it off. It sounds harmless, but understand what's really happening. Those comments aren't observations. They're measurements. She's keeping a mental scorecard, and you're in a competition you never agreed to enter. Here's the psychology. When someone truly chooses you, the comparison ends. You're not perfect, but you're hers. That's loyalty. But a woman who constantly compares is shopping. She's evaluating. She's keeping her options open under the disguise of casual remarks. And today you might be winning, but the game never stops. Watch how this escalates. At first it's subtle. Jake's girlfriend is so lucky. He cooks for her. Then it becomes direct. Why can't you be more like that? And eventually it turns into justification. Marcus appreciates me more than you do. What she doesn't tell you is that Marcus is already the man she's emotionally investing in. The danger here isn't just jealousy. It's erosion. Comparison eats away at gratitude. If she's always scanning the horizon for someone better, she will never fully value what's in front of her. A loyal woman doesn't treat her relationship like a marketplace. She doesn't weigh you against every man she meets. She chooses once and for all. But the comparison queen she never stops choosing. And one day, she'll choose herself right out of your life. Number 10. She keeps parts of her life hidden from you. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is normal. We all deserve our own space. But secrecy is deliberate. It's compartmentalization. And when a woman builds walls between you and entire sections of her life, you're not her partner. You're just a guest in one of her many worlds. Pay attention to the signs. Her phone is always face down, locked with codes you don't know. She has social media accounts you've never seen. She talks about friends you've never met. She disappears into work or girls' nights that somehow never include you. This isn't independence. It's insulation. She's constructing multiple versions of herself, and you only have access to the one she allows. Here's the reality. Loyal women are open books, not because they have to be, but because they have nothing to hide. If her phone dies, she can hand you hers without thinking. Her friends know you. Her online life includes you. Her storylines match up no matter who's listening. But the secret keeper lives a double life. And double lives always collapse, usually on top of the man who trusted her. She'll frame it as, "I just need my privacy." But don't be fooled. Those compartments aren't about healthy space. They're about undisclosed activity. If she's separating her life into locked boxes, ask yourself why. Because the truth is, when loyalty exists, integration follows naturally. And when secrecy rules, betrayal is only a matter of time. You've just heard the 10 clearest signs that a woman will never be loyal. If you recognize more than one of them in the woman you're with, don't brush it off. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern. And patterns don't lie. Here's the part most men hate to face. You cannot transform disloyalty into loyalty. Love doesn't reform it. Commitment doesn't fix it. Sacrifice doesn't heal it. Trying to build loyalty in a woman who lacks it is like trying to build a house on quicksand. You can pour in all the effort and resources you want, but the foundation will always collapse beneath you, and this is where you have to turn the mirror on yourself. Because the real danger isn't just her behavior. It's your blindness. It's the way you saw the signs and ignored them. The way you painted red flags green because you wanted the fantasy more than the truth. That's the moment you stopped being a victim and became a volunteer. Loyalty isn't something you teach, bargain for, or earn. It's a core trait. Women who are loyal don't need to be convinced. They've always been loyal, and they don't know how to be anything else. The tragedy is that too many men waste years trying to rehabilitate women who never had that foundation to begin with. So here's the challenge. Stop trying to change what's unchangeable. Raise your standards. Walk away from poison, no matter how attractive the bottle looks. And understand that being alone is far less painful than being betrayed. If this video woke you up, then do something about it. Subscribe now so you never miss these truths that can save you years of heartbreak. Hit like if this spoke to you and share it with a friend who might be ignoring the same signs. And drop a comment with your story because your lesson might be the warning that saves another man's future. Your next move is in your hands. Choose wisely.